I remembered my first business that I started officially. I'd always started these little small type freelance type projects as a university student, but as I came out of university in tech, I went into my first venture, and I joined a particular individual who had a business entity, a CC, set up, and we went into a business that was a direct correlation to what I'd been studying, and I was really excited about it, and I really felt that there was a gap in the market for this. What had happened was that the partner that I'd gone into business with had told me that there was a whole base of contacts in which we would be able to start working with. The other thing that took place was that I was very much left alone as an individual to figure this thing out, and both of these things excited me. That business lasted about 6 months. I wasn't earning enough to support myself, and over that time I became very, very aware of the fact that I just did not have enough skills to make this work. One of the key things that came to mind was that I had no idea how to sell anything. The other thing that became apparent was that this contact database was something that didn't really exist, at least not to the point that it was valuable enough in churning business out of it. And then there was something else that became quite apparent to me, and that was that I had picked an industry that was very small and niche, and I was a nobody without any connections trying to make something happen. And these three things became very clear to me as we started to wrap that business up. And so I went back to university and studied marketing. In my ignorance, I believed marketing would teach me how to sell, and after you've studied marketing, you realize they're two very different things. But what I did learn really did help me along the path. The other thing that we had learned with that was that this contacts database and the network that we were in just wasn't strong enough. And so when I started my new businesses, after that, I spent a considerable amount of time building my network and putting myself out there as much as possible as the new boy in the industry to gain as much credibility as possible to drive business into our business. Now, I could have turned around at that first juncture and said, that business never worked, and because of it, I'm not going into business. But that failure taught me some very clear attributes that I needed to learn. It showed me where my gaps were and how I could solve them. And so that's the point of failure, is to teach you. The point of failure is to give you a stepping stone to the next adventure. The point of failure is nothing to do with defining you. It's got everything to do with building you. And for some reason, our brains click into this gear that when we fail at something, we are now a failure and we amount to nothing. It's just simply not true. We need to find a way to recalibrate that in our brains and find a way to force ourselves to understand that this is a stepping stone and that failure is a relevant, normal, everyday part of being a successful individual.